So your calculator is useful for a lot of things in your exam. Another thing it's really good at is calculating things like mean and standard deviation, okay? So for example, let's say you have this list of data on the screen. For this video, I'm going to go through how to do this with the ClassWiz calculator, as I think that's the calculator used by most students. If you use another calculator like one of the graphing ones, you'll be able to do all the things in this video. You'll just have to press different buttons in order to do it, okay? So on the ClassWiz calculator, if you press the menu/setup button, it gets up all the modes of your calculator, and then if you press 6, this puts your calculator into statistics mode and it gives this screen here, okay? Then press 1 for the one variable option and it should come up with this screen here, and what you can do is input your list of data into this table like I've done here, okay? So type in the number and then press equals to put in the entry, and then do that for all of the data points, so the entire list of data is in the table, okay? Then press AC to clear the screen, and then press this options button here to get this screen, and then press 2 for the one variable calculator, and this comes up, and this is a list of measurements for your data, okay? So starting from the top one is the mean, the second one is the sum of all your data points, the third one is the sum of all your data points squared, the fourth one is variance, the fifth one is standard deviation. Don't worry about the sixth and the seventh one with the S, that's another form of standard deviation you don't need to know for A level. The N is how many data points you have, min X is the minimum value, Q1 and Q3 are the quartiles, which I'll come back to in a moment. The MED is the median, and then if you go down one more time, it gives you the max data point. Now, a note on the quartiles. In stats, there are kind of two debated methods on how to calculate quartiles, and annoyingly, we at A level do it one way and the calculator does it the other way, and because of this, sometimes it will give out the correct value for the quartiles, but oftentimes it doesn't. It won't give out the same answer that we figure out using our method. So unfortunately, I would advise you to ignore the quartiles in your exam, as the values often aren't correct for the method we do at A level. Now, what's really good about this is, let's say you've just done a question where you've calculated the mean and standard deviation, for example. You can put the data in the question into your calculator and check that you have got the right answer and the calculator gives the same answer as you. Now, one thing I need to stress, if you get a question where you need to calculate standard deviation or mean, do not just plug the data into your calculator, then write down whatever value it gives out and then move on to the next question, because almost all of the time you will score 0 marks for that question, as you need to show some method marks. The examiners are aware your calculators are able to do this, but this method is really useful for checking your answers. So rather than a list, let's say you're given a frequency table instead. Your calculator can also work with this. So on your calculator, press shift and then the menu setup button, and it comes up with this screen here, okay? Scroll down once to get this screen and then press 3 to get statistics, and then it will come up with this, and this is the option to have frequency on or off. Press 1 to turn it on, and then do the same thing as we did before where we press menu, setup, press 6 for statistics, 1 for one variable, and now the screen will look like this instead. This is now a frequency table where you can enter the data for this question, and using the exact same process as before, it can give out values like the mean and standard deviation. Okay, so let's say you're given a grouped frequency table. Now, your calculator does not have a feature where you can insert a grouped frequency table, but it can still be useful here. If you recall back to the standard deviation video, we talked about the way that we estimate standard deviation for a grouped frequency table is by using midpoints. This is also the same way we estimate the mean. So this is an example on the screen here where we have found the midpoints for each interval for a grouped frequency table. Well, if you use the frequency table mode on your calculator and just insert the midpoints, this is going to use the same method that we use to estimate the mean and the standard deviation. So your calculator can give out an estimate for these values and you can use it to check your answers. Now, something I need to stress here, your calculator will also give out a value for the median. This is not the correct value, because we talked about in the interpolation video, to estimate the median for a group grouped frequency table, we do not use the midpoints. We use a different method called interpolation, and as a result, the way the calculator has calculated the median using the midpoints is not the correct answer, so just ignore it. As I said, I think this is a really powerful way to check your answers to things like mean and standard deviation in an exam.